feeling like I'm Akademiks. Can't ride away.
Is it what's the name of this Twitter? There's a Twitter account that posts all the Drake stuff. Let me find it. Don't tell me it's this. Is it this? Oh, it's called OVO Docket. All right, so let's kind of go over what's happening in court. I see so many people, and you know the funny thing about I'm watching people online like make up these like I've kind of been I take myself out of the Twitter conversations because half of these people they have zero idea about the music industry and they're just pushing an agenda, right? So a lot of times I see when people read these things, the conclusions they come to are just flat out incorrect. So I'll help you guys try to navigate through this a little bit. Obviously, I do have some feelings about the lawsuit, and if you guys want that as well, I'll give it to you. But I'll try to help you navigate through how this works, because what happens is that you get a bunch of, I'll say, industry illiterate people breaking down industry coded conversations. Okay, so Drake wanted Kendrick Lamar's recording contract, among other things. Drake actually filed a document. He filed a document basically saying, give me a second, that they were requesting for a bunch of things to be produced. Now, let me just give you, and let me get to it. Motion to, okay, here we go. So we need this, and then we need one more. Okay. Send declaration. Here we go. Okay, bet. Okay, so let me explain to you how, again, I think we've been through this. I feel like we're almost damn near legal experts ourselves. This is a civil case. The way it works is that there is a very long process, especially when you have lawyers firing off motions and oppositions to motions, and then there's appeals, and then sometimes the court has to deal with, the judge has to deal with a lot of people because there's a lot of parties involved. Now, usually it starts with a complaint. A complaint is filed in court. After the complaint is filed, you serve the person. After service is done, you basically then start the process. Now, there's some not motions, but pre-procedural processes that happen. And if you ever look at a docket of like court, you'll see it in a civil legal proceeding. However, one of the first things that is very important is we need discovery. Discovery is evidence that is going to be used to prove or disprove the case. What is discovery? Discovery is basically both parties are allowed to request reasonable documents, evidence that could be provided by the other side that they could prove their point, which means, hey, listen, I got hurt at your house. I asked you to pay me. Maybe this was out of court. You're like, this ain't my house. I could request the title, the deed, the proof that you have a lease with the house. So you could, that's all good for discovery. Okay. So now let's bring this to the Drake case. Okay. And then once you're at discovery, at least it works in most state courts in the civil cases. No court wants to have an actual trial. They're going to force you to go into mediation. Go sit down, go figure it out. See if we could avoid and save the court resources, taxpayers' times who are paying the judges, by y'all figuring it out with somebody in the middle. Hey, yo, what do you want? What do you want? Could we figure this out some way? It all gets dismissed. Sometimes there's 2 or 3 of these meetings that happen. We're not even there yet, but that's usually after the discovery phase. Okay? So after discovery, you do that. Also, in between, and kind of like, this discovery phase is a long phase, you get to do, and this is what, I think everybody's weaponizing now in hip hop, these things called depositions. Depositions are a fact-finding, fact-building method, just like asking for a document or a contract that you're like, hey, we want to compel this person to sit and we ask him any question for this amount of time and we could hopefully gather some evidence to help the case. Okay? Now, hip hop is very different now. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, there's a bunch of legal shit going on. And it's going on. We usually think about it in the criminal sense, but it's happening in the civil sense. Meg Thee Stallion, she's doing that. Meg Thee Stallion just, Aiden Ross. Remember I was on Kick with Aiden Ross? And I told Aiden somebody subpoenaed me to do a deposition in a case they're not even suing me in. They're suing another blogger, Milagro. They just subpoenaed Aiden Ross. They want to see if Aiden Ross got paid by Tory. They have all these and really at this point, I don't even think Rock Nation or these companies actually believe that Aiden Ross got paid by Tory Lanez. Aiden Ross is up at $200 million. You think he got paid? What do you think Tory paid him to be on the side? What do you think Tory paid me to be on his side? But that's their thought. And really, I think that's not even a legit thought. I think it's more to harass people now, right? So it's like, yo, we're going to bring Aiden Ross in. Maybe we could ask him about if he's talked to Tory in jail and if he ever paid for Tory's lawyers or if he, whatever. You get what I'm saying? So that's one of the things too. And by the way, I'm giving you this layout because this is going to happen in this Drake case. They're going to do their best to say, we need to have a deposition with Kendrick. And Drake's lawyers are going to sit there and ask Kendrick about, have you ever cheated on your wife? I'm letting y'all know this is going to happen. Have you ever cheated on your wife? Has your wife ever cheated? By the way, you have to be truthful in a deposition. You're actually sworn in. You raise your right hand. They say, yo, do you swear? Yes. Because it's basically a sworn declaration. It's just in audio and video. So whenever Drake gets Kendrick in a deposition, and by the way, I'm surprised. I think Kendrick is trying to keep it hip hop, honestly, because Kendrick should file a countersuit. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, nigga, you bringing me up in this shit, I'm gonna bring you up in some shit. Okay? They're gonna ask Kendrick, nigga, you ever cheat on your girl? You ever beat your girl? You ever slapped her? You ever did this? You ever? And he has to answer these things. We're a long way off from that, right? And I could imagine Kendrick has lawyers that are going to say, Drake ain't suing me. He need to get up with the niggas he's suing. I ain't got nothing to do with that, right? And that'll probably maybe be successful because Kendrick isn't the source of the lawsuit. However, he's referenced a shit ton of times. So Drake is suing UMG. And remember, Spotify is not added to this. They were in a pre-litigation action, and also iHeartMedia was in a pre-litigation action, but those have been resolved, and it's just Drake versus UMG. Cool. Drake is asking for a discovery. And if the judge finds that his claim has some merit to be listened to, they could enforce that these requests that he has to be at least listened to. Okay? Now, this is not the whole thing. Sorry. Okay. Here, well, let me find the full request. Is this it? Okay, there's Lucían right there. And then there's another one. Okay. Is it this? No. Oh, this is with the... Oh, okay, yeah, it is. Okay. Okay, so these are the requests Drake's team and his lawyers are requesting. He wants the contracts between UMG and Kendrick. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, and brother, I'm just always going to kick it straight with y'all. I'm not a fan of this shit. I'm not a fan of this lawsuit, period. I think it's just trying to pry. I don't think Kendrick's contract has nothing to do with Not Like Us, my nigga. I just don't. However, this is where I think we're at in rap. You get to essentially bully somebody legally, right? Now, granted, the Kendrick lie, yes. I think Drake should have sued Kendrick. You lied on me, nigga. Fuck it. You lied. But this idea, we're looking at contracts. There's nothing in this contract that's going to say, Even though I guess the thinking here is Kendrick was incentivized to make up these lies. I think niggas just want to pull Kendrick's contract to see what he's really getting. And I'm pretty sure if Drake gets it, Drake gonna diss him 50 million times more subliminally. Like, yeah, nigga, I know you got that 80-20 split. Like, yo, I know all of that. Yeah, it's gonna happen. But anyway, he wants the contracts, right? Cool. By the way, UMG did produce some shit. I'm gonna let you know they gave. So he wants anything with UMG and Kendrick, okay? And he wants these agreements to reflect who has the right. Okay, this makes sense. Okay. So good. So he's basically saying he don't care how much, which I would hope. So you don't care how much he's getting or what his splits are. Good. But you want the agreements to reflect whose right it is to approve, reject, refuse, publish, edit, amend, alter, or veto the publication of his music. Okay. Now, that's also a little bit of an interesting request if you ask me, chat. Because the same contract or the same way how Drake contract is probably worded the same. Y'all are two big artists on a major label. They're not reinventing the wheel for one nigga and not for you. So if you have the right, if the label has the right to approve, reject, refuse, or publish, and they have the final say over your music, they probably do have it over Kendrick's music. And maybe this is just a formality because they just need it to proceed. But I would imagine, like Drake, you could look in the mirror and figure out what it is, right? Like, nigga, the right to do these things is probably the same thing with you, right? Drake document request 2. All documents and communications relating to your approval and consent to the publishing the record. So again, you know, these are sign-offs. So usually when a record comes out, whether it's a DocuSign or something, like there's some agreements that have to be signed. You know what I mean? Hey, we're releasing it. We own the rights. The person who produced it be like, hey, we own the rights of the this, da-da-da. And it's almost like transferring all the rights, right? Any communications between Ramon relating to recording, da-da-da-da, and promotion of the music works by Kendrick Lamar. So basically anything related to their digital guy promoting the record. Cool. All documents, communication relating to payment, reimbursements, and discretionary marketing funds for the benefit of Kendrick Lamar Duckworth or any person working on his behalf, including but not limited to Anthony Saleh. Okay. All documents, communications relating concerns that all right. Written, made to you relating to payola violations regarding any music works by Kendrick Lamar Duckworth. All documents, communications relating to any actions contemplated or contemplate actions you undertook with respect to the copyright restrictions for the recording, but not limited to alteration, modification, assessment. Okay. Documents sufficient to show your internal policies, procedures, and guidelines relating to the enforcement of that restriction over the publication, playing, streaming, or sharing of the music works. Okay. All documents and communications relating to the Grammys. Okay, I get what they're trying to do. They're basically trying to build this out to say UMG doesn't have a clean hand in this. And if anything, they helped this record that Drake believes is a defamatory record. They help spread it. Like, for example, right? If someone makes a defamatory video, they're like, yo, they defame someone and it's a video and I repost it. I then add millions of eyeballs and I amplify it. And if it's defamatory, I have now been included in increasing the view of this defamatory thing. Now, the thing with defamation is defamation is really hard to prove. Some people think it's easy. Oh, you talk bad about me or you lied about me. Well, a lie usually is, because it's a lie, it's easier to prove in defamation, but it's still hard. I'm going to tell you why. You need to prove that the person who intend to defame you knew that they were doing this to defame you and that they had some malice while doing this to defame you. So Drake's idea is, UMG allowed this guy to defame me because they wanted to alter the terms of a possible negotiation. That would constitute malice. That would constitute pretty much standard defamation, but also a lot of other business-related issues that I'm pretty sure, or I forgot what the counts are in this lawsuit, those would be, you're doing unethical business at that point, right? Okay, so they want to know if UMG helped set up the Super Bowl thing. Okay, cool. Documents sufficient to show streams, views, including, okay. Documents to show executive compensation structure and annual incentive plans for John Janik for the past 5 years. Now, again, I'm going to keep saying this. Respectfully, I don't really have a horse in a race like this. To me, it's like, the only thing that interests me, I like getting in people's business. So them giving these details out, I'm going to have a blast going through it. But do I think that the CEO of Interscope, his incentive pack, yeah, man. Actually, no, it is relevant. It is relevant. Remember I told y'all Atlantic, basically, remember when Atlantic was trash? But right before they have a new regime change and they dropped Meek, they dropped Kodak, Youngboy left. I told y'all the reason. There was an incentive package for those executives for them to get, I forgot how much money. It was like $100 million split among all the executives at Atlantic, as long as they had like 3 consecutive quarters, net positive. So what they did was, we're not spending money. We're just going to make money. Because, with the music business, you invest a lot. You invest a lot because you're going to get it on the back end. But then when Warner went public, there was this, they're trying to get the stock price up that, we're doing good. We're getting revenue. So they give this incentive package to their executives. And basically that incentive package told the executives, don't spend money. Don't sign artists. Don't promote artists because you're wasting money. Just sit back. You got a lot of catalog. Let the catalog bring in money. Increase those margins. What happens? You hit that threshold. You get $100 million. You're good. You get what I'm saying? So I could see that. So I think where Drake Lawyer is coming from here. By the way, for anybody, for all the OVO stands and like the little like K-bot dick riders, like I'm doing my job here. Don't take none of what I'm saying to think I'm either on both the outsides or one of the outsides. I'm just trying to break down this as per my job. Really, I'm doing my job, brother. Like, what I mean? Like, y'all keep thinking Drake paid everybody. Drake never paid me a motherfucking coin. So I'm doing my job. So if I make a point and it falls on Drake's side or it falls on Kendrick or UMG side, I'm not getting paid. I'm just really just breaking it down, using logic or my logic, knowing how this music industry works. So yeah, I can see how that goes. So it looks like Drake is kind of making this theme to say, and that actually makes sense a little bit. And by the way, I'm thinking in real time too. UMG, no. So there've been a battle between Monty Littman, who runs Republic, that's where Drake is under, and John Janik, who runs Interscope, that's where Kendrick is on. There've been a battle between those guys to see who's gonna be the top dog at UMG. So I could imagine you're probably want to look into the CEO's compensation package to see, well, if your top op, business-wise, not real op, business-wise, is the nigga who is Drake's CEO, you kill 2 birds with 1 stone if you get your artist to dismantle Drake because it hurts your top op, that CEO, and it hurts their artist, Drake. So, okay, maybe that's what they're getting at. And what happens is, if you guys know anything about these companies, they always have incentive packages. Hey, if you get more than 15% revenue than last year, you get $400,000. And that's like the bonus. So you know what they do all year? We got to beat last year's numbers by 15%. They do anything to get it. They would fucking make some shit up. They will slime you out. They'll do anything. That's just most executives. They work off incentives, especially when it's publicly traded. Hey, you need to do shit to get certain margins that our investors are going to be happy. And when you do that, you look better in the company. You get more money, whatever. So I'm guessing that's the angle they're going with. Document 12. Executive, Interscope, executive incentive metrics. Okay. for all the officers and John Janik. All right. Communications about you sending litigation hold notices and the recipients on these notices of the allegations in the complaint. Oh, okay. So they want to know. So, and Anthony Saleh told me this. They basically said Universal, when their relationship with Drake was becoming tumultuous, Universal started really trying to rein things in because they realized it's going to be a big deal. So they would tell people, yo, hey, just brace yourself and don't do certain things because I think we're about to get sued if this doesn't go right with Drake. Okay. All communications related to May 7th, May 8th, and May 9th, trespassing attempts at Drake's house. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, and here's the thing about legal documents. I think this is Drake's lawyer, and I'm not bailing Drake out at all. But I'll say this. If Drake reasonably thinks that any of these things, if he thinks that shooting at his house was over the Kendrick thing, like, come on, bro. Come on. Now, obviously, as a lawyer, you're going to put it in there because it came at a time during then. You know, if you know when it comes to that situation. It's a larger thing. But I ain't gonna lie, I might be able to see the trespassing situations. I mean, his house was on it was on the cover photo. So I could see that too. So, you know, all these things, like, you look at it and, like, if you look at it in one lens, you're like, yo, Drake, you're dragging it, bro. But then in another lens, it's like, am I dragging it? Them niggas put my house on the fucking flyer. Like, Meek tweeted some shit with my address, and there was mad cops that showed up later because they got calls about my house. So, yeah, so it's like you could, in one sense, you could be like, nah, you're kind of like, you're doing too much. And in another light, it's like, no, you're not. Like, you're actually telling the truth here. Document 15. All communications regarding the promotion of the record on Spotify and Apple. Remember, the record, UMG did a deal with Spotify for I believe 30% revenue for Spotify on the song if they got increased promotion. Now, Spotify has since responded to that by saying, yeah, we did a deal with Universal, but we've done deals with Universal for several artists. And it's not out of the ordinary that we offer labels that we will promote your song on our platform more if we get more of the revenue. So they're saying it just wasn't a Kendrick thing, right? Document 16. All right. Documents to show how much money spent by UMG directly or indirectly of the production and recording of the video. Documents sufficient to show the total monthly spend by UMG directly or indirectly. Okay. Let me see this. I thought there were more. Exhibit 3. Jesus Christ, there's so much fucking legal work. I'm going to be honest here with y'all, chat. What's this? Oh, these are like explanations. I believe that Drake has spent clearly over $500,000, going up to $1 million on this lawsuit. There was a mention that he spent $100,000 trying to serve one of the guys he believed is the bot guy, which, you know, what's so funny. Drake knows all this shit too, man. Okay. All right. So we have some more requests. What the fuck? They have another request. For the time period of this to this, an instruction, direction, or suggestion that any music works or a music video by Pusha T included but not limited to the story of Added On be censored or otherwise. Okay. Documents sufficient to show Interscope's monthly revenues and profits from January 1st to the present. Wow. Documents show UMG and Interscope monthly revenues and profits derived in any way. Documents to show the value of Kendrick's recording catalog. Now, see, this is, again, I'm saying this respectfully. I think the lawyer of Drake, you know, he's cooking up anything, and some things that have merit, but some things like a little bit of a stretch. To me, I'm going to be honest with you, it's none of Drake's motherfucking business. It's none of his fucking business. Like, yeah, if you want to rap that you got 400 million, great. But why the fuck do you need to know how much Kendrick got from his entire catalog from 2020? I don't see the relevance. Honestly, for me, I don't see it. I'm trying to think. I don't see it. Because here's the thing. And by the way, I'm saying it as like just a reasonable person. The blogger in me and the streamer in me, okay, Drake, give us your contract. Both of y'all give us your contract. I want to comb through both of y'all contracts. I would love to. But trying to compel one person's contract, we don't know your contract, I don't know. Like, I want both of y'all contracts. I want to go through both of y'all contracts line by line. I do. All documents and communications internal to UMG relating to the renegotiation or anticipated renegotiation of Drake's current contract with UMG or negotiation of a new contract include but not limited to documents and communications discussing UMG's leverage over Drake, the value of Drake's recording catalog, the cost of extending Drake's current contract, the cost of entering into a new contract with Drake, documents and communications with blah, blah, blah. Now, this would be very important. How were they discussing this? Were they on Slack talking about, yo, that nigga Drake getting his ass whipped? Yo, we should go back to his lawyer or his agent and instead of offering him $600 million, let's just go with 450. Let's go with 300. I don't know. That'd be good, you know, because it could show some, hey, the negotiation was directly affected by the battle, a battle that you basically boosted up. And I could see where Drake's trying to make a point there. Okay, let me see what else. All communications with Spotify, Twitch, Amazon, Anthony Saleh, David Isaac Friley, Gary Morella, Joshua Delseni, Kojo, Anthony Boucher. Okay. All communications with Complex. Okay. All communications with Vivo. Okay. All communications with Penske Media. Okay. What does Penske Media own? They own something. Let's see. Oh, they own Variety, Billboard. Ooh, wow, they own a lot. Hollywood Reporter, Rolling Stone. Wow. Oh, Vibe Magazine. Oh, they own a lot. Wow. All documents, communication with YouTube. Oh, wow. With Meta. Okay. And NFR Podcast. And its host. Okay. All documents, communications relating to the Heart Part 6 by Drake. Any, through the present, all documents, communication regarding to Drake's criminal history of lack thereof, including background investigations, due diligence, inquiries, checks, and reports related to criminal records. That's an interesting one. It's like he's saying his label did a background check on him. Or has been inquiring possibly about maybe any legal thing or legal liability that they might run into. And the reason why they might do that is if you promise a nigga $400 million and you cut him some heavy advances off the rip, you want to know that nigga not going to get locked up, right? Interesting. All the documents and communications related to the allegations of domestic violence, violence against women, or other forms of violence committed by Kendrick. Why the fuck would the label know about this? Okay. Again, this is a request to the label. This is not a. This is what I'm saying. Yo, Drake need to sue Kendrick, bro. Sue Kendrick. If you want to find out if Kendrick beat bitches, sue him. He lied on you. Sue the nigga. From January 2019 to the present, anything from Dave Free. Oh, that's Dave Free. Hey. David Isaac Friley. That's Dave Free, and his relationship with Kendrick and Kendrick's children. Yo, Dave Free, man. Stop walking around the Ford's building looking for Act to send a coded message to Drake. Drake is in Toronto. He's still mentioning you and Kendrick's kid. You got to pull up for that fade. You got to pull up for the fade, brother. Yo, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think Dave Free is Kendrick's children's father at all. But it's hilarious that Drake is still fucking with him even in the lawsuit. And by the way, I've never talked, like, I never talked to Drake about, like, whatever. I think, remember I told you Drake hit me about, I guess SZA hit him. It was like a game of telephone. So I guess after I talked to Dave Free, he goes to the back. Remember, SZA's on the tour. He tells SZA, like, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I just talked to Act. Man, look like he's saying, man, Drake must be writing them posts. I'm like, huh? Then SZA calls Drake. So Drake hits me, because I don't talk to SZA, and be like, Ack, you told him, like, I'm writing the post on Akademiks TV. I'm like, what the fuck? Hell nah. I say you must got no problem with her saying nothing about SZA, because the last time you're the one who got us off her ass. So yeah. The funny part about that, this is all like so messy. Drake is still dissing Kendrick's kids. SZA on tour with Kendrick. SZA still talking to Drake. This is all like bullshit. This is all bullshit to me. How SZA's calling Drake? Yo, Drake, hey, Aubrey, did you tell Act this? Like, what the fuck? Why are we playing telephone? It ain't no way Drake and SZA should be talking. This shit is crazy to me. This is why I'm like, yo, you know what? This is a little bit of dick and pussy business. I got to stay out of this. Now, the idea of him still trolling, or maybe Drake do really believe that Dave Free is the father. That's crazy. Yo, Dave Free, you got to pull up on that nigga for a fade, Crody. You got to. All documents relate. Yeah, by the way, asking the record label, like the record label is on some Maury shit. Yo, y'all got any proof? This is what he's basically saying. Y'all got any proof that them kids might be Dave Free? That's what he's saying in legal form. That's all he's saying. Yo, he wrote, this is the legal version of, I think them kids might be Dave Free. Like, that's the legal version of it. Yo, give us the paternity test if you got it. Why the fuck would his label have the paternity test of Kendrick Lamar's kids just sitting there? Come on, bro. So I think he's trolling. I think Drake is trolling a little bit. This is what happens when Drake is making so much money. I think half of this shit he's trolling and he wants to torture Kendrick. I think he already realizes certain perceptions of him is cooked. Fuck it. Let me torture this nigga. I'm gonna troll his ass. Yo, that's like, say they work at McDonald's and niggas be like, yo, you going to the person's boss at McDonald's and be like, you got a copy of this nigga STD results? Be like, why the fuck would we have that? Okay. All documents related to the rap feud. Okay. All communications relating to the vandalism at the OVO store. By the way, I don't think none of this shit got to do with it, bro. Like, what the fuck? You think UMG's like, yo, start a flash mob. Go hit the OVO store in London. This will make... Nah, I don't think so at all, bro. All documents, communication with independent promoters relating to the video. All documents, communication relating to independent promoters hired, engaged, or retained by you to promote the song. Not limited by date range. The settlement agreement between you and the New York Attorney General. Referenced in paragraphs of the complaint, but not included, but to the settlement and any schedule. So I guess there was like some conversation either over payola or something like that in the Attorney General of New York, because payola was a big thing when it came to New York, and maybe that's why iHeart was brought in. So I think there was an agreement with UMG and the Attorney General basically saying we won't do this again type shit, because like, yeah, even though you're not bonded or binded to the FCC airplay laws in terms of, they're a private company or public now. If they engaged in payola, it puts them at risk. So it looked like they had some agreement. Drake want to see the agreement. All documents related to the violations and suspected violations of, okay, whatever. So this basically is saying snitch on yourself. All documents relating to violations or suspected violations of your agreement. So tell us how you got in trouble, made an agreement to get out of trouble, and how you violated your probation again. Like, this is some crazy request. All versions of the independent radio promotion agreement since 2020 as referenced in your radio and television promotion policies and procedure. Wow. This right here, and this right here I have mixed feelings about. Drake seemingly is trying to drop the grenade and walk out the room, because I think what we're going to kind of get to is that, and we do know there is reverse discovery, right? You realize that when you ask for discovery from them, they ask for discovery from you. And I think if Universal, and they're probably thinking about it right now to say, all right, this fuck nigga is trying us. He's going to drop an album. He dropped one last year. He's still doing decent numbers. It's making us a lot of money. Remember, it's money over feelings. But if they do want to get on some feelings shit, feelings over money, I think they could torpedo Drake. You know why? Half of these things Drake is asking for, they could compel Drake in a reverse way and basically them have it put it out themselves. Because I hope I didn't lose you guys what I'm saying. Bro, every label pays radio teams. Every label. They don't only do it for Kendrick. They have done it for Drake. If Drake has a record that's working radio, there is a team working it. I guarantee you. Radio is not free. Airplay is not free. By the way, you know what I was looking up recently? Drake, and there's a little bit of me thinking, does Drake have a lack of understanding? There's no way he's this much of a behemoth in the game, but have a lack of understanding of how the music business goes. But then I look at like Drake's radio record presence. Like if you look at his radio chart in history in the last 5 years, piss poor compared to any of the people we compare him with or should compare him with. Drake, when we look at monthly listeners on DSPs and the amount of streams he brings in per year, Drake actually ranks in the top 5 every year streaming. Radio, I don't even think he's top 20 of all artists in the last 5 years. So Drake hasn't been a radio artist, but we're out of radio time, right? So it doesn't matter. So we still look at Drake as Drake. But like go back to 2016 where I remember Work being playing every day on the radio. Work. I mean, like Hotline Bling was all over the fucking radio. It's been a while since Drake has been that guy. But here's the thing. I guarantee when Work was running the airwaves, when One Dance was running the airwaves, when motherfucking Hotline Bling was running the airwaves, I promise you, there was a shit ton of independent promotion radio teams that was working for Drake, whether he knew it or not. Facts. Radio don't work by itself. So I'm wondering, like, maybe Universal has just stopped doing certain shit for him. Because, be honest, like, when's the last big radio Drake record? And when I'm talking about, we're not comparing Drake within hip-hop. Because Drake numbers stands outside of hip-hop. Drake's a pop star. I know he makes rap music, but he's a pop star. When we look at the top 10, look at this, right? Top 10 stream artists 2024, right? Drake is 4th, right? This is globally, right? But it's the 4th. We could even look at it in the US. He's 4th. Now, I do think Drake has prioritized the streaming era because Drake helped kick it off. Like Drake is really the artist that streaming, if you ask me, was built around. He was the guinea pig. He was the main proponent. He pushed it for Apple Music and even his presence on Spotify. So I think he bust open that gate for streaming when streaming completely took over anything to do with, you know, how people consume music, whether radio, this, and third. But radio-wise, we haven't seen, and I think that's why we haven't seen a Drake record last top 10 for a long time. Like, when's it, like, somebody said No Key is a radio song. That did okay at radio. Didn't do great at radio. That's what I'm trying to say. Drake is a top 5 artist. Overall, he's a top 5 artist, definitely when it comes to streaming. But look, let me see. Top 10 radio artists. I probably got to look up PPL, probably. I don't know. Yeah, radio airplay artist. Radio airplay. And Drake drops more music than any of these people. Okay, this is country radio. I'll look overall. Could we look at radio songs? Here we go. We could look at both. Artists with the most number ones in the 21st century. Well, there's the 21st century, so Drake probably is going to be up in this. I think after he kicked off streaming, I think he's probably going to be in this somewhere. Will he? 7, Usher. Oh, no, these are people who had number ones. This is Rihanna, who had a radio number. Let's see her radio number ones. Wild Thoughts, Monster, Stay, Diamonds, We Found Love, S&M, What's My Name, Only Girl, Love the Way You Lie, Rude Boy, Live Your Life, Take a Bow, Umbrella. I remember hearing Umbrella everywhere, every single hour of the fucking day. Now, granted, this is 2007, so you had to listen to radio in these other places to listen to music, so it was a huge thing. Let me see, how many radio number ones has Drake had? No, not Billboard number ones, radio number ones. Like this is like a current snapshot of radio records right now, right? So this is the radio charts are measured by audience. And again, I've been thinking about this recently. Drake is one of the only artists that's a top tier. Drake is bigger than Kendrick Lamar in all facets, streaming everything. Kendrick does better on radio than him. And I'm like, why? Now, I'm telling you how radio works. It's not because you look cute or because the song is good. It's because niggas push it to radio. So I'm wondering if Drake is thinking, now Universal been sabotaging me because after I kicked off streaming, the streaming era, I haven't had records being pushed like how all these other niggas shit is getting pushed to radio. They don't push my shit like that. Let's see if we can find where Drake is even at right now. He has a song that's a rhythmic song. Now, which one? That song with him and Central C, that's a song that could be played on urban. See, I know a little bit about radio. So on you have pop radio. Pop radio usually has the biggest audience. You have country radio. You have rhythmic radio. You have adult contemporary. You have urban radio. And, you have the Hot 97. That's like urban, Hot 97, Power 105. But then you have like Z100. That's like pop radio. And then you have, so again, when they're working these records, they're going to take a record, and this is why like a one dance is easier to go number one. They're not going to only give it to the rap stations. They're going to be like, no, we could have one dance on the pop stations. We could have it on the adult contemporary stations because older folks likes the beat. You know what I mean? Like we could put it different places, get more, and it's ranked in audience. So audience don't mean listens. It just means the exposure. So they like per hour, they have what's called a PPM meter. They see how many people are exposed to this radio airwave, and they say that's the audience for this station. When your record plays, they have a calculation. They say, based on the audience for the station during this hour, your music had the exposure of this amount of people. They compile it all over the United States. That's how they come up with the radio charts. Billboard takes that radio charts, they factor it into a percentage, combines it with pure sales, which means track sales. So if you buy the record on iTunes or however you buy it on a single level. And then they take DSP streams, and those streams are paid and then not paid for. They put all three into a thing and they come up with a Billboard 100, right? Give that a little crash course. So essentially, I was looking yesterday because I'm like, damn, Drake has kind of not really done good on radio records. What did I miss? His highest radio record is below Cardi B Outside. The audience is 26.2 million. Now, granted, I do believe that's not the best radio record, but I do believe it's Drake. It's like Taylor Swift. Like, the way how they think when it comes to radio is like people won't change the station if they hear a familiar voice. And some of these names and some of these people are huge pop stars. When you hear, even though Chris Brown might not sell the most stream-wise, Chris Brown is going to be somebody who's always good for radio, right? Despite obviously the stuff like, oh, you beat women or whatever. Yo, Chris Brown's voice has been in our ears since 2006. It's 20 years. He's a pop star. He's on a stadium tour, right? So I don't know this song, but it does good on radio. You know why? It's probably rhythmic, whatever, and the name value. Chris Brown. Like, you'll see a lot of name value. Of course, you'll see some new people. I never heard about Alex Warren before, but you'll see the Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars. This is why Bruno Mars does really good. Bruno Mars gets a lot of play there, right? For whatever reason, yeah, Drake. I haven't seen Drake with like a #1 radio record, and I'm wondering if it's his team making a call, or maybe it's Universal making a call, or maybe radio just don't fuck with him. I don't know. Oh, Rather Lie. I love this record. Where's the next Drake record? Where's the Which One joint? See, Nokia is still on here, but look, Nokia. Look, even the peak for Nokia. This is the peak. Yeah, the peak was like the peak is at 34 million. 34 million in audience. That's not even, so really Nokia really wasn't even like a top 10 radio record, and we all thought that would be the radio record. Like Nokia is, slam dunk. That's one of those songs, we're not going to call it Hotline Bling, but it's in the same realm of In My Feelings, Hotline Bling, of Right Foot Up, Left. That's the quintessential radio record. Yet that didn't go that crazy on radio. Now, did it do good on Spotify? Yes. Drake's been killing it on streaming for a long time. But we kind of get to realize, and by the way, this is going to be his Achilles heel with getting to #1. Radio hasn't been showing a lot of love to Drake. Truthfully. So I'm wondering if Drake has been thinking, UMG is sabotaging this shit. Remember, Drake kind of fundamentally changed the game, right? Like Drake is the person, and I wonder how, if I'm UMG, you know what I would do? I would basically request communications from Drake and UMG. So you're basically just requesting your own text messages. Not really, but kind of. Request communications. No. Even got one better. Request communications about Drake doing an exclusive deal with Apple to put his album out on a streaming platform before any radio station got it, anybody got it. That tilted the scale, and streaming became #1. From that moment on, when Drake dropped his album a week before on streaming, and it was on Apple, and then Lucían Grainge had to come in, and he made the decree. He said no more of our artists can drop on a selective platform before another platform. But you know why Spotify was bitching? They were like, yo, what the fuck? Nigga, when we come to the table and we're giving y'all money, y'all get all the money in the world. We give you whatever money you want. If y'all want, because they do these deals, it's kind of, they're licensing the music. They don't own the music. UMG's leverage is always catalog. We own the catalog. Spotify is going to be like, all right, we're going to license the music. So from now and then, they come back to the table based on revenue growth of the market. It's third. It's like CBA if you follow sports. And you come up with a new deal. And Spotify was mad. They were like, yo, why the fuck are we in a deal with you when Apple gets the music first? We're not going to get no subscribers. They're going to go to Apple. And Lucían, because he don't care, if you're selling weed, you don't give a fuck if it gets sold on 63rd or 64th. Okay? We don't know. We don't care. They basically said, hey, cut it out. However, I think that moment, that is known as Drake tilting the scale. I mean, obviously The Weeknd came in afterwards because The Weeknd was involved with that. I don't know if his shit was that early release window, but that does play a part in it. But I'm being honest with you, man. Drake hasn't been, like, Drake is Drake on streaming. I haven't seen a big Drake radio record in a while. Okay, so on Some Sexy Songs for You, Nokia, it's a big record, not a big radio record. Okay? Wasn't even top 10. Let's see. Let's go back to For All the Dogs. Was any of those records huge on radio? No. Let's go to Her Loss. Let me see if I can find Drake radio history. Drake radio chart history. Again, we're talking about radio, not overall charts. Oh, here we go.
This is not to get confused.
Oh, perfect. Who made this? Okay, this is great. This is exactly what I was looking for. Okay. So they're showing his radio like rock months, by the way.
What I tell them, ho, bow, 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 to me, drop down to your knees.
Hey,
The money,
another one, but this is with Nicki, goes up. That's the formula for Drake. You got to get with a chick, even though he doesn't need him necessarily, but, you know, it helps.
Mafia, that's where the love sees. I'm in a Dominican, Big Papi on.
Drake been dropping songs that are like album cuts that works like singles because, like, we already fuck with him. But, like, he hasn't had, like, these big singles other than God's Plan. Really, God's Plan is the last one I remember. Other than, like, his features on other songs, like, you know, he'll have these features on songs that are already popping.
He's doing target practice, all these
Even though Nonstop was lit.
He's just aiming the police. Shout out to the CEO, 500 degrees. Shout out to the OBO, rubbing to fatigue. Somebody should have told you I'm on one.
Okay. All right, let me just speed it up because I think Scorpion era peaked. Here we go.
God's plan. I can't do this on my own. Hey.
Okay. So look at this, how it did on radio. I guarantee it went to 5. This is another thing that if I'm Drake, I think I would feel a way about. I think what this battle also completely killed is that Drake, even though in hip hop he used to kind of I'm saying cosplay, but I'm not really meaning that, saying like he's acting or nothing like that. He would kind of like have one foot in, one foot out of like the trenches. You'll see him with Future. You'll see him kind of rap with like the tough dudes. Like, so it's like he's like the guy who had the clean image for the world, but like still is valued enough with the street rappers that he could get off slick lines like, or get slick songs like Mob Ties, right? I think God's Plan was like the perfect song to go high because at that time the perception about Drake was like, this is this clean cut guy who is, there's never been allegations, he doesn't have a criminal record, he never got locked up, there's no blemish on him, right? And obviously I think the Meek thing was only a blemish in hip hop. I think the Pusha T thing was a smaller of a blemish. I think it's not like us shit. They're looking at Drake is long past the Disney Channel thing. They think he's up to some shit. You get what I'm saying? Like the perception of Drake back then was like, oh, this is wholesome guy. Now they're looking at him like, nigga might be on some shit.
Everybody get your
Ooh, and so this one went damn near, it went top 3. God's Plan, and now we have is this In My Feelings?
She doesn't want no so-so. Had a man last year, life goes on. Kiki.
Oh no, that was what's this other song called? Fuck, what's it called? Nice for What? It was Nice for What? Yeah. Songs like this is what I'm saying, chat, right? Nice for What went to 20, right? When I look at or hear Nokia is Nice for What to me. Nokia is exactly Nice for What.
Say you love me. Are you riding? Say you never ever leave from a
Okay, Nokia goes top 10.
It don't matter to me.
Oh wow, they pushed the one with Michael Jackson's single. I never liked that song.
Don't matter to me.
Okay, that lasted for a little bit. Then that MIA song with Bad Bunny. Woo! Oh, that shit was fire. Yeah. Oh, that shit lasted. Pause. Wow, look at this peak. It peaked out, stayed, dipped, and came back up. That's, if you ask me, that's Bad Bunny becoming just a bigger fucking star. Wow, this shit lasted. Nah, this is the longest, chat, just look at it. This shit, yo, shout out to Bad Bunny, man. Who knew Bad Bunny would become who he is now? Oh, wow. That's interesting. You see how they just skip time? So it looked like Drake. So remember, this is 2018. Going Bad impacts very low, or comparably. But that's right after MIA stops, right? Remember, this is right after the battle with the Pusha T thing. This is 2018. Going into 2019. Well, this is 2019 at this point, April 2019. MIA kind of falls off the radio charts. And by the way, we're talking about top 40 radio charts. Going Bad kind of impacts a little bit, but it doesn't go nowhere. And then we go several months without a Drake song. You know, he usually does feature this and third, but nothing that's impacting radio until probably CLB in 2020. Okay, so we are skipping past the entire 2019. There's nothing there. Interesting. Okay.
Hey.
Oh, and then No Guidance. Yeah, that was a good record. By the way, again, Chris Brown, good good artist at radio. He does good by himself. He's been in people's ears for 20 years. Drake been in people's ears for 17. I'm surprised it didn't go like top 10, top 15. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. Pretty little thing, you got a bag and now you wildin'. You just took it off the line, no mileage. Haven't done my taxes, I'm too turned up. Virgil got a paddock on my wrist.
Oh, then Future. This is why them artists think that Drake need him. You know what I mean?
Nuts, did it go right foot up.
Okay, now we see Tootsie Slide. I think that's his last really positive received radio record. Look,
left foot up, right foot slide. Basically,
it goes top 15.
Saying either way, we about to slide.
Ooh.
Can't let this one slide.
Oh shit, yeah, it goes top 10. Out of here.
Leather glove, no sequins. Yeah, buckles on the jacket is elite.
So right here is when Drake should have got that number 1 for the record. The radio's peaked. Streams are probably doing good. Fans are still buying it. Any smart label is going to put a good push for those 2 weeks. Get him that number 1. Did Tootsie Slide go number 1? Let's Google it. By the way, this is how the music industry works. They watch these charts, man. No, not Tootsie. Tootsie Slide. I think, was that number 1? By the way, that was also a clever Drake record. That whole record was coded with Drake saying he gonna kill somebody. And if you don't believe me, just listen to the third verse. Here we go. Where's the peak of this song? The peak position, United States, U.S. Billboard Hot 100. Wow. No way. It only peaked 32? It went top 5 on radio. No way it only peaked 32. No, oh, that's the year-end charts. My bad. I'm tweaking, nigga. U.S. Billboard. Yeah, it went number 1. Sorry. Yeah, it went number 1. Yep. Went number 1. See? This is how much radio matters. Like, radio, and watch. Let's look at the week it goes number 1. Let's look at the week it goes number 1, chat. Let's look at the week. They're saying retrieve then. When did it go number 1? Let me just Google it. When did 2C Slide go? When did 2C Slide go number 1? Yeah, I love this little AI tool. April 18th. Oh, it debuted at number 1. Oh, never mind. Okay, yeah. That's because it impacted immediately. So radio work, when you work in radio, you'll hear this word impact. So you pay a radio team and they do all these pitches. They do whatever they got to do. They do what they got to do. And there's going to be an impact date. That's when it's like a concerted push. Everybody's going to play it. It's going to impact on the charts, right? In promotions, you use that, and every label has promotions. Like, you use that because you know, again, remember, you want a high place on the charts. It's going to mind wash or brainwash people. So you do other things. But now we're in a different era because Drake is so huge. The buzz on his social media and just the streams could get him a number 1 for a week, not more than a week. When was it? It must have returned to number 1 on that time, though. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, I would think it went back to number 1 in June. Matter of fact, I could look it up. June 13th. Let's look at June 13th, 2020. Billboard charts, June 13th, 2020. Let's see. Okay, here we go. All right, 2C Slide was 6. It was 6 then. And you got to remember, it debuted at number 1 in April, May, June. So almost damn near 3 months later. Almost 3 months later, it's still top 10. But why is it still top 10? He debuts number 1 off Cloud. That's a fact. Drake could drop a song now and debut number 1 off Cloud. But it's gone. It's out of there. After the first, it's out of the top 15. Unless it has radio support. So, wait, what the fuck is this? Oh, yeah. So, pretty much, you could tell what happened. the radio push of 2C Slide keeps it there. Now, interesting enough and important enough, this is around the time we're getting, let's Google some facts here. When did CLB drop? September 2021. Okay, so it's not 2020. In 2020, Drake drops Dark Lane Demo, I believe, right? Dark Lane Demo tapes, right? 2020, right? 2020, good. 2020. Now, he pens this deal with Universal at that time. Remember, chat, Drake pens this deal he's been bragging about, around that time. So, for me, I'm going, this radio record happens, and then we're going into the new era where he gets this $400 million deal that he keeps bragging about. Right?
Crossbody got a piece.
2C Slide, all right, 2C Slide drops off. Okay, let's see what's next.
Star, not a doctor. Calling my phone like I'm locked up nonstop from the plane.
This is with the rollout of CLB.
Baby.
Okay, goes top 15, which, by the way, respectfully, you're dropping a song that's, it's melodic, but it's not like the most catchiest thing. And you have Lil Durk on it. Love Lil Durk, but like he's not like the person that should be dominating radio, right?
I took a half and she took the whole.
But UMG's rolling out CLB. They just signed Drake to a lot of money. You gotta let this song gotta go crazy. So there's probably, I guarantee there's mad radio promo teams that got paid for this bitch. Yeah, this bitch is rising like this. Look, this bitch is rising. It's just rising more than some other songs that Drake got that's hotter. Think about it.
Thing, slow down.
Wow. It damn near goes to 5. So this goes up there to, this goes to the levels of where did Hotline Bling go? Where did Hotline Bling go? What era is that? Is that More Life? What? Yeah, you can type any question, they just answer it. Not interested. He's on Views. Okay, let's go Views era again. My bad, Chad. Yeah. Hotline Bling goes.
Late night when you need.
Yeah, Hotline Bling goes number 1, right? Yep.
I know when that Hotline Bling.
So Hotline Bling is biggest radio record.
Emotion. Don't get out of way.
Work.
No one long this
goes top 10.
Got a Hennessy in my
One Dance goes number 1.
hand. One more time before I go. My love for friend.
So essentially, Views era, Drake is undoubtedly a pop star. Like, when I mean, he's still a pop star, but he's the biggest pop star in the game. He has 3 top 5 radio records on one project, or around the same time, because Work isn't on his project. It's on Anti, which is Rihanna. So he has Work, Hotline Bling, and he has One Dance.
I got get out of way to love.
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's his biggest era. Then afterwards, he gets success with God's Plan, right? God's Plan goes. Yeah, God's Plan goes top 5.
Life goes on.
In My Feelings goes top 10. 2C Slide goes.
Hey, go right foot up, left foot slide.
That goes top 5, I believe, right? No, that only went top. What the fuck?
I'm saying either way we bout to slide. Can't let this one slide. Hey, leather glove, no sequence. Yeah.
Okay, that went top 10. Okay.
I know that they at the crib to the whole thing.
Laugh Now Cry Later goes top 5. He just signs the deal.
Baby, we took a trip, now we on your block and it's like a ghost town.
Okay.
We'll see what's about that.
And then now, after 2020, well, it's 2021. Here we go. He's rolling out the album.
Next, okay. Yeah.
Now, the interesting part about that, you know, it says okay. That's the What's Next song. He dropped that record in the 3-pack with Lemon Pepper Freestyle and Wants and Needs. And that's the one with him and Baby was snapping. All 3 of those records debut on the Billboard Hot 100, 1, 2, and 3. But we're looking at the radio charts. Radio did not matter. Look, What's Next, Wants and Needs, debut. Watch. They debut number 1, 2, and 3. What's Next, Wants and Needs both debut on the same week, and What's Next was number 1, Wants and Needs was number 2, and Lemon Pepper Freestyle was number 3. And that's how hot Drake was, because he did that with no radio. Like, there was no radio. You could tell. This is the radio playlist.
Next, okay, we'll see what's about to happen next, okay? Okay.
Yeah, see, so What's Next is down here, which it went top 40.
Okay. Okay, all right, that's fine. Okay.
Way Too Sexy. That's on C5.
Yeah. I don't wanna.
Okay, this is honestly never mind. I don't expect these songs to, but you see, these songs might be on house channels, or channels that support house music and EDC, electric music or whatever, EDM music, right? It probably did well there.
I've been driving around the world.
Okay, then Wait For You comes in, but remember, that's not his record, it's Future's.
I sit on my balcony and wonder how you feeling.
That went top 20.
To taste my time away from women. I cannot convince you. Tried me 100 times. Wanted me to lie, wanted me to
Staying Alive. Khaled's label gonna push this shit.
cry, wanted me to die. Pigeonhole, I'm a night owl.
Damn, Jimmy Cooks. We all love Jimmy Cooks, but Jimmy Cooks was, marginally decent at radio, not too much.
This a different mode. I'ma have to make.
Now we had Her Loss. So let's do the math real quick. After CLB and that first track with that elaborate rollout of Laugh Now, Cry Later, Drake signs the deal. We're going to get into what this purported deal is. We don't see much more of Drake, and we're going to watch. Do we see Drake dominating the radio charts? By the way, this whole time, he's dominating the streaming charts. Whole time.
21, can you do something for me? 21. Can you hit a little rich flex?
Okay, and shit, a lot of people like that song, but that song is not going top 20.
For me, and 21,
wow.
Can you do something for me?
Dies out pretty quick. By the way, you could tell that, look how quickly they sum up his last two eras, because you could tell his eras is getting shorter and shorter on radio airplay. Look, Views, huge. Scorpion, huge. Remember, he had Hot 2C Slide around this time. After that, they sum up CLB real quick. Honestly, never mind, real quick. Now we're at Her Loss. All right. And now we realize Nokia is, it's a record, but we're going to see how Drake does on radio going forward. Now, I have heard this. I have heard that a lot of people who are working in radio, they literally feel like Drake is snitching on the game. Honestly, I've heard that. They feel like, again, with all due respect, this idea of it takes money to make everything happen in America, bro. If you think niggas are playing your record because you're cute, good luck. And Drake drawing attention to this, they feel like they got to move differently. It's like a nigga be like, yo, y'all don't see the niggas selling, they be selling mad drugs on that block. Now the cops start patrolling, niggas got to move a little bit different. They're going to start hating you. You know what I mean? They're going to start hating you. So I think from what I've heard from niggas in radio, they're not the fondest of Drake. And that might also result in UMG saying, all right, cool, we're not going to push your shit to radio. We're not going to use these radio promo teams because you're claiming that they're doing illegal stuff that obviously we don't know they're doing, but we're just paying them. We're paying them to do something. What they're doing, we don't know. But if you think that they're doing something bad, we won't have them do nothing for you. But anyway, we haven't seen much Drake. Obviously we don't have data for 2025, right? But essentially, in the For All the Dogs era, there was not one top 10 radio song, right?
Drag it out of me, please drag it out.
Her Loss era, there's no top 20. Yeah.
Pigeonhole, I'm a night owl. This a different mode.
So this is, Honestly Nevermind was in 2022, right? So it's been 3 years now. Drake hasn't had a top 20 record on radio. That's what I'm telling y'all. I'm like, yo, he's top 5 in streaming, yet he hasn't had a top 20 radio streaming record in 3 years. And he signs a deal 4 years ago. Maybe that's where Drake is coming up with this. I don't know. I just noticed it like the other night. I'm just looking through shit. I'm like, yeah, Drake hasn't been doing good on radio, man. By the way, let me see if they could do one on Kendrick. Did they got one on Kendrick? Oh, look at, no, that's the Billboard chart. I want to see the radio. Let me search Kendrick radio. Maybe they did one of his. No, I don't think so. Radio chart history. We got the Weeknd's radio chart history. We only have the Billboard history. All right, never mind. Okay. All right, so anyway, I go back to this request thing. Essentially, Drake is asking for radio promo agreements since 2020. And it kind of matches what I just done pointed out to y'all. Drake really hasn't had no big radio records since he signed the deal, with the exception of Laugh Now, Cry Later, which was around the time that's the kickoff to the album that launches the deal being in effect. After that, they're like, fuck this shit. All right? All right. Then they want to know all the deals for radio with Kendrick. Then they want any violations of this, whatever. They want to know about documents on whitelisting for all these songs. Not okay. Push-ups, Euphoria, Family Matters. Okay, yeah. It seems like Drake is also a victim of not talking to his label, because he seems like he didn't know this shit was happening. Because he even puts his own songs on there. I want to know if y'all whitelisted anybody or any platform to put this song. I guess his theory is going to be, y'all aren't just publishers of music that was in a beef, y'all are promoters of the beef. You guys whitelisted all the songs in the beef. First Person Shooter, Like That, Push-Ups, Euphoria, Family Matters, Meet the Grams. All documentations and communications regarding analysis, measurements. Okay. Whitelisting, all right, man. They want to know the standard rates between them and Spotify. Then the rates for that song with Universal and Spotify. Documents relating to the use of bots, artificial streaming. Okay. All right. All communications with Kendrick or his agents, but not limited to the following. Meaning or intent of the recording or a portion of thereof, including but not limited to the following. Say, Drake, I hear you like him young. You better never go to Cell Block 1. Just make sure you hide your little sister from him. Certified lover boy, certified PDFs. Trying to track a chord, that's probably A minor. Shape the stories how you want, but hey, Drake, they're not slow. Rabbit hole still a little bit deeper. I could go further, and your homeboy needs a subpoena. That predator moves in flocks. That name got to be registered and placed in neighborhood watch. Image of Kendrick's playing hopscotch and okay. So they want to know if this was intentional. By the way, if I'm Baca, I'm suing. Baca should sue. I think Baca makes some money, but you gotta sue Kendrick. They gave a heavily redacted. Okay, so they gave up Kendrick's contract, but they redacted most of the 22-page agreement. So the redactions are improper, especially the party specifically agreed to treat these type of contracts as attorney eyes only. So Drake want to see everything in the contract, but they won't put in the docket. They're going to be just off the docket, and it's going to be under a protective agreement. Yeah, all right. That shit getting leaked in 20 seconds. Yeah, okay. And I don't mind Kendrick telling Universal, saying, fuck no, don't get that nigga my contract. What the fuck? Don't tell that nigga how much I'm making. Fuck that nigga. And I would think Drake would want to say the same. I know Drake announces how much he's making, but no. All right. Now, Jesus Christ, look at this. It's a lot of filing here, people. Okay. So, what this led up to is Lucían Grainge, okay, who is the CEO of Universal. Hold on. Drake wants to compel Lucían Grainge, which, by the way, is kind of like Drake's own boss. It's like compelling your boss to participate in talking about how he made your schedule. You know what I mean? Like, this is crazy. And they want Lucían Grainge to be producing certain things. So let's say Lucían Grainge texted with Kendrick's team. They want to know. Lucían Grainge did. Yeah, hold on. Lucían Grainge did respond. Hold on. Let me show you what Lucían Grainge said. Holy shit, man. So much fucking legal shit. Okay, I think this should be it. All right. So this is Lucían Grainge's lawyer. Dear Judge, in the first motion to compel, Drake seeks to have Sir Lucían Grainge to be added as a document custodian because he's the CEO of the defendant, UMG Records, okay? Now, what a custodian means you are the person in control of certain information that is now going to be court-ordered to be produced, right? And they're saying because he's CEO, he has access or he could get access, right? It says Drake does so even though he previously agreed not to seek documents from Lucían Grainge in light of UMG's agreement to designate and produce the relevant documents from 11 document custodians. So essentially what they're saying, UMG, like, yes, Lucían Grainge has the authority to go get whatever you need, but let's agree not to come at him directly because your gripe isn't with him, even though it's with the company he's the CEO of. You'll allow him to designate the other custodians that work for him. So John Janik is the CEO of Interscope that's under Universal, and you will ask John Janik for it, not Lucían. Drake motion is transparent attempt to use discovery to harass UMG and force it to waste time and resources out of spite. The premise of Drake's motion that he couldn't have lost a rap battle unless it was a product of some imagined secret conspiracy going to the top of UMG's corporate structure is absurd. Sir Lucían Grainge is the CEO for multinational enterprises. Days are spent determining and implementing global strategy, not vetting individual tracks or album covers, or driving the release and promotional plans by anyone recording. And even if Sir Lucían had any responsive documents, they would be surely captured by the discovery from UMG's other document custodians who were actually responsible for releasing and promoting, not like us. So basically saying, go get it, Interscope. This motion should be denied. Okay? All right. Let's see. What else? Now, Lucían sends a declaration. And a declaration is basically a signed, statement. And this is his declaration. Wait. Oh my God. Give me a second. This is what Lucían Grainge says. And he kind of addresses Drake. He kind of sneaked this at Drake too. Let Drake know what's up. So he says. Hold on. Okay. He says, wait, let me zoom. Okay. I'm the chairman and CEO of Universal Music Group. It's the indirect parent company of the defendant, UMG Records. And UMG Records is owned by an international company, which is Envy. I think it's based out of like a different country or some shit. Anyway, Aubrey Graham claims I'm behind a scheme to devalue his brand through the release and promotion of Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us, an allegation that makes no sense due to the fact that the company I run, Universal Music Group NV, has a vested interest, has invested hundreds of millions of dollars in Drake, including longstanding and critical financial support for his recording career, the purchase and ownership of the bulk of his recording catalog, and the purchase of his music publishing rights. Now, let me explain this real quick, because there was some imbeciles that claimed Drake was in his 360. It couldn't be further from the truth. So what happened here, and this is what happened in music contracts a lot, a label will leverage the fact, a label, when you want more money from a label thinks how much they could be more in the business of being with you. So for example, they don't want to invest $1 billion if they're like, oh, we're just going to split the profits 50-50 after recoupment. No, they want to feel like they have complete investment into your business. It's like, just think about it. If you have a startup company and you want somebody to give you $5 million, they're going to want what's called IP, right? We want to own some of the IP. We want to own some of the company. That's just what it is. So when Drake gets this deal, and this is now my speculation, they have, in 2017, I believe, Drake renegotiated, from what I've heard, multiple times. His first recording contract, which Thank Me Later is under, and Take Care, is completely owned by UMG. It's a standard contract, and if you look in everybody's standard contract, most likely, especially back then when you had no clout and you were getting put on by somebody else, which Drake did, you didn't have leverage to say you want much of your masters. So those masters are usually owned completely by the company. If you ask me, I would believe that Drake's Take Care, Thank Me Later, owned completely by Universal. Every time you renegotiate, you get a better deal. So the next negotiation, I believe that Drake negotiated for a part, maybe 20%, maybe 25%. And that existed for the next 2 albums. Then all I do know is going up to 2020, Drake basically, for everything that was released afterwards, it was a 50-50 split. It was going to be dropped on his own label, but it's been 50-50 before. So, but it was 50, he owned it, but it wasn't, OVO Sound wasn't involved. So it's like a complicated, like, you got to be in the weeds of understand how these contracts work. I haven't heard Drake selling his catalog, but I have heard him conceding some of his catalog despite his leverage because he wants more money, right? A thing that he could potentially try to buy back later, even though I'm going to be honest with you, I think it's just going to be so much valuable. It's going to cost him an arm and a leg. However, what Taylor Swift did, and this is standard, hey, if you want me to stay here, give me back piece of my back catalog. Like, Taylor Swift just got her masters back. Universal bought her masters back to hand deliver to her because she's staying at Universal. That was a caveat that was included in the deal. If you ever hear about the Taylor Swift story, when she signs to Republic, it is noted in the contract that Universal will bring her back her masters, a deal that they paid supposedly, reportedly, like $300 million for. So they bought it back to give to her for free. But they got her to sign. So think about it. They're just thinking about it as an overall investment. So the point what I'm trying to say for the simpletons is Drake's not in a 360. They're saying that we are in the business of Drake. We own some of his albums. That has nothing to do, a 360 would mean your current contract. We own, and your masters being owned is not a 360 as well. A 360 means you own his touring. You own at least a part of it. And I'm not ruling it out that they could not own a part of Drake's touring because Drake has some nasty deal with Live Nation. Don't you see Drake always touring? Drake got some deal with Live Nation. Like he's like, he's pulling in. By the way, and this is how I know that deal exists. I'm going to find out more about it. I got some people that are going to get me the details. Live Nation reports earnings. They said they were like 10% up. Listen, look. Live Nation, they reported more revenue. Why? Look, reported second quarter highlighting an increase in revenue to 7 million and 10 billion. Or I'm trying to like explain this in a way that makes sense for y'all. Okay. The point is this. Live Nation, I think they did some deals with these people. Don't you realize most artists now are just going on tour perpetually, like all the time? Like, there was a time these guys were dropping more music. It's now, number one, I think it's a pandemic reset. We're out of the pandemic. We've been for 3 years. And also, these deals at Live Nation are given out because the way people are experiencing music, the most lucrative form of it is actually through concerts. And that's why you're seeing more people being pushed to do arena tours. You're seeing Drake constantly touring. They gave Drake some nasty deal. When I mean nasty deal, like a lot of money. But that's why you see Drake's like, oh, you think Drake wants to go to fucking Switzerland, my nigga? Like, no disrespect to y'all in Switzerland. Like, come on, bro. Like, yo, Live Nation got his ass working. Got to work for this bread. So, does Universal have any participation in that? And I guess, like, I'm kind of arguing my own point here. What Lucían Grainge said doesn't mean he's in a 360. They're saying that we have invested in his catalog. A music company either owning your catalog or investing in your catalog is not 360. 360 only comes if Universal is busting down his deal with Nike, busting down his deal with Live Nation. But when it comes to music and publishing, that usually falls under a music company or label, and that label usually have publishing houses within them. So using that leverage is not a 360. That's just, it's like Shark Tank. Yo, my nigga, how much money you looking for? You're looking for $5 million. Well, I want half of your company. Right? Like, some people might be like, oh, we'll give you that amount of money, but we need to recoup first, and then we get split this on the profits. Or somebody's gonna be like, no, we'll do it as an investment. We want half of your fucking company. So that's what Lucían Grainge is talking about. He's not talking about a 360 at all. Only way we would know if Drake is in a 360 is if we find out that Universal is directly profiting from his deal with Live Nation, because he has a deal with Live Nation. These artists, they go on tour, they get a deal. Okay. So basically it says, we have a purchase and an ownership of the bulk of his recording catalog, as we should expect. They own Take Care. They own Thank Me Later. They own Nothing Was the Same. And I would imagine they own pretty much everything up until at least 2016, 2017. I would imagine. You see, after Views, conversations get a little bit changed. Like, brother, Views is a behemoth of an album. And I think before Views, because I think Take Care did so well. If You're Reading This Too Late did so well. Drake also does, if you don't know how most of these contracts are written, they'll have addendums, or sometimes if they're not mentioned, you got to do a new contract for any collab albums. Like, so we were hearing about this rumored last album, because based on I think people said he signed for 4. CLB was one. They were saying Honestly Nevermind was one, even though they said Universal wasn't happy with that album because they don't want Drake experimenting. They want Drake just going for the hits. Then what happens after that? Honestly Nevermind. Then we get Her Loss. And then we get For All the Dogs. It was supposedly a 4-album deal, $100 million per album. However, Her Loss doesn't count. And the one with Party doesn't count. Those are addendum deals that you do that are separate, like one-off type of things. Same with when YoungBoy dropped 20 albums. Like, they count, but they don't count. They don't count for the original recording contract, but you could do these addendums mid-deal. Or like, we're going to do like the side contract for this side album. We're going to designate it as not a quote-unquote album, but we'll call it the mixtape or whatever else, but we'll still be able to put it out. So usually when a solo artist gets signed and they drop a collab album, that don't count for their contract. It counts for some other shit. So that's why you see Drake has dropped damn near 6 albums, and technically, per his contract, he's only on 3, right? So the one with 21 Savage don't count, and the one with Party don't count for the original recording contract. It still counts. He's still getting paid. And by the way, sometimes the deal on those will be a lot better because Drake could have just waited to drop that once he's out the deal. You get what I'm saying? So they'll even give him a better situation with that. They'll just give him money up front. But yeah, Universal owns a lot of Drake's catalog. Def Jam owns a lot of Kanye's catalog. Jay's catalog was owned a lot before. That's normal, okay? That's not 360. He says it also makes no sense whatever or whatsoever as I run a publicly traded multi-billion-dollar multinational. Oh, he flexing. Ooh. Multinational corporation whose operations is in over 60 countries, covered nearly 200 markets, ultimately report up to me. Our business encompasses over 100 record labels, as well as multinational music publishing divisions, global merchandise and direct-to-consumer businesses, the worldwide Virgin Music label services, short and long form. Oh my God, he's flexing. Audio visual production. Damn. Okay, Lucían. Flexing on that nigga Drake right now. Each with its own CEO and president, its own management structure. Collectively, these businesses issue tens of thousands of release and product each month. My focus is developing and implementing a global strategy that will shape UMG for generations to come. In light of this responsibility, the proposition I'm in the weeds as to the release and promotion of any particular sound recording from the thousands of UMG releases throughout the world is farcical. Am I saying that word right? Given my role, I'm accustomed and unfortunately largely resigned to personal attacks. And I further recognize that the frequent strategy of the UMG litigation opponents is to attempt to waste my and UMG's time and resources with discovery of the sort that Drake is seeking here, either in an attempt to gain media attention or in an effort to force some kind of commercial renegotiation or financial concession. So essentially, they're almost saying that Drake is trying to twist their arm to get a better deal. I have to believe that's what it is. I have to believe that Drake is kind of trying to get a better deal, because it's not like Drake is saying I'm going independent, right? Drake is just saying y'all fucked up, y'all owe me some bread, and whatever y'all offered me that I didn't take because y'all lowballed me, give me the bread in court, right? So I kind of agree with that. But given Drake's motion, I would like to make it quite clear I've never heard the recording Not Like Us, nor ever saw the corresponding cover art or music video until after they were released by Interscope Records. Whilst as part of my role, I certainly have financial oversight and my responsibility for UMG's global businesses, the proposition that I was involved in or much less responsible for in reviewing and approving content of Not Like Us, its cover art, music video, or for determining and directing the promotion of the material is groundless and indeed ridiculous. I declare under perjury that the foregoing is true and correct. Executed on that day. Monterey, California. Signature. So he said Drake full of shit. Okay. I can't speak for Drake. I've been confused a little bit by his lawsuit. We've heard a lot of things. Hey, this is a stance for artists. I don't think this is a stance for artists. I think this is a stance for Drake. I think Drake is in a unique position, maybe a place where other artists, maybe of his caliber, haven't been, and they have either acquiesced or gotten their career torn apart by the giant, UMG, or whoever they believe is their parent label. And Drake feels like he has a shot to kind of hold them accountable. I think he believes that there is a lot of money to be made here. Or ultimately that they will reverse and admit some blame and basically say, Drake, we're doing good business together. Let's just do another deal. This deal is going to give you infinitely more money and resources, and we're going to compensate you for that song even coming out. and you're going to be made whole, and let's keep it going. I think Drake would take a settlement and stay with Universal. This is why I say it's not for artists, because it's not like he's down to leave. It's like a girl going through your phone, seeing the bitches you fucking, and she's still staying. Okay? Drake, I don't think Drake is trying to leave. Drake is trying to get paid. That's it. And this is a tactic. Will it work? Might. I think Drake is playing a little bit of chicken. Why? Because he's daring the record label and he's petitioning them for things that they could say, oh, explaining this radio promotion budget of $1 million for Not Like Us, we also spent $1 million on God's Plan. That's why you went number one, buddy. And if they do that, it makes Drake's claims look frivolous, but it exposes the entire ecostructure of UMG. So it's like, we could try to shut this guy down, but we are going to be open to more exposure. So we're going to have to just keep fighting every little thing he's requesting, which is wasting our time because we're not going to give him this shit. And ultimately, we know he just wants some money to be cool back with us. Somebody said, but it exposes them even more. Yeah, I mean, but there's multiple sides here. The reason why I'm saying chicken, at a point, the label could say, all right, you know what? We got the bread. First of all, you a billionaire? Okay. We're up tens of billions. Actually, that company is, let's see, UMG market cap. Yeah, you a billionaire. How much is 44 billion euros? It's like 60 billion. Yeah, we're a $60 billion company. Okay? We are a $60 billion company, buddy. We got money, we got resources, and we got time. So you know what? As much as you are a part of what we got going on for the betterment of our industry, we're gonna drag this along, stifle your career, no radio, no this, no that, and you're gonna be Colin Kaepernick. You thought you were taking down the NFL, buddy? No, you're on the side making pizza with your girl while y'all told about Jay-Z came in and stopped the kneeling. Yes, that's what's gonna be. So, obviously Drake isn't Colin Kaepernick and Drake's a huge artist, but there is a way where they might be like, yo, okay, if this fuck nigga don't want to settle, or this fuck nigga doesn't is going to extreme lengths to try to expose us, which is going to hurt our bottom line, let's rip the Band-Aid off now, kill this motherfucker's career, right? And then basically move on along. Anyway. What do y'all think about this?